Welcome to Meme Reads. Today we'll be covering Askreddit, where we ask Reddit, what's the most f***ed up thing you've seen a friend do? This post was asked by Decisive Vinyl.
A guy I worked with was about to take his wife on a trip back to their mutual hometown in another state. They had a pair of delightful kittens, and they asked me if I would watch them while they were gone. I had little experience with cats, but these two were just wonderfully playful. I gave him a call when he got back to arrange the returning of the kittens, but he said he had picked up a non-cat friendly dog on the journey and that he would just drop off the kittens in the woods. Needless to say, I kept them, and they were wonderfully furry friends for me, and eventually to my wife and kids. I still think about what could have happened to them if I hadn't been there in the right place in the right time.
I went on holiday for a week and asked my best friend to pop in and feed my cat. He just lived a few doors away. When I got back, my cat was laying by the back door of my house and went inside and his bowl was empty. I called him and asked him when was the last time he fed my cat. He said, "Oh yeah, I forgot." My cat had been outside for a week with no food or water. I haven't spoke to him in 12 years. Grunt. Why is there so many stories about these people's so-called friends treating cats so poorly? Well, why? He convinced his girlfriend that she was suffering from a gluten intolerance instead of schizophrenia and got her to stop taking her medication.
That's terrible. Why would you do such a thing?
To the extent that I could parse the paralogic, it was nonsense about taking a stand against the over-medication of society and proving he was smarter than Big Pharma. He actually fantasized about the pharmaceutical companies, quote, coming after him for his, quote, activism. I had a friend deliberately get knocked down by a car in order to prove that when he was drunk, and we were very drunk, his bones were flexible. Fortunately, the car had been slowing down to take a turn, and there followed a couple minutes of trying to reassure the driver that he was okay whilst calling him an idiot. Meanwhile, while he was lying flat on his back, he was maintaining that he had proved his point. At least he's only an idiot and not plain evil like some of these other comments. You got a good friend, homie. Defective? Maybe, but he's a good one. Yeah, can you imagine your friend just getting hit by a car and just being like, "Heck, got you guys, oh yeah, I'm right, heh." Man, that's probably gonna hurt in the morning, but it was worth it. My at the time best friend was excited for me to meet his new girlfriend. The whole evening he bragged about how she was still married and he was gonna be the reason she got divorced. Haven't spoken to him since. Did hear that she broke up with him and sorted out her issues with her husband. Poor husband. I brought my friend to watch my boyfriend practice his drumming. She kept spreading her legs wide while wearing a skirt with no underwear. She slept with him, and he left me thinking he would be with her. Needless to say, she didn't date him because she already had a boyfriend. Dang, what a friend. Dang, what a boyfriend. Good riddance to them both. Yeah, you kinda dodged two bullets here. Yeah, that's the truth. Your boyfriend's just an idiot to think a girl this provocative's just gonna stick with him and only him. And this girl's so crazy. I can't believe she would flash somebody else's boyfriend. I knew a guy who could literally tie his into a knot. This is the best answer. I needed this after all those messed up stories. Weirdest palate cleanser. We were working in an old lady's attic and he kicked the crap out of a pipe on purpose and then went and told her it needed to be replaced. I never worked with him again after that. This is just such low-level scum behavior. Like you're just gonna try and make a couple bucks off an old lady? That's actually pathetic. You should be ashamed. 1, they were arguing and he made fun of a friend for being an orphan. 2, tried to stab the other friend because his ex was crushing on him. Well, I guess the username checks out. This sounds more like an actual psychopath to me. Stabbing a friend over jealousy and then making fun of somebody because they were disadvantaged and born an orphan? Jeez, that just makes me sick. What trait in a person do you find creepy? This post was asked by a deleted user. Someone who appears very nice but becomes nasty when they don't get their way. Oh, you mean toddlers? Toddlers? I think they're called narcissists, but that's basically the same thing. The real difference is that a narcissist knows what they're doing to other people and they really just don't care. A toddler just doesn't know any better because they're dumb. And all kids are dumb because they just don't know any better yet. I've got a coworker who brags about having anger issues. He starts smirking as if it's impressive and intimidating. I think it makes him sound like a creepy tool. People who ask you a question and then just stare at you without any follow-up after you answer them. I swear every time I've talked to a big boss or CEO of a workplace, they'll ask me a really simple question like, "Hey, how are you today?" And when I say, "I'm good, how are you?" I just get this confused stare in return. Just say something or nod, anything. I suspect it's used as a tactic to get people to volunteer information that they otherwise would have kept to themselves. It is used for good reason by therapists with clients during therapy. I also read somewhere that it's commonly used by law enforcement when interrogating suspects. I'm sure it's commonly used by corporate psychopaths also to assert dominance over others, identify opportunities to obtain more power, manufacture confusion, and the like. Well, unfortunately, that does sound an awful lot like corporate America. Like, working in an office is already annoying and hard. Why do you gotta make it awkward with his weird power plays? Standing too close even when you back away. I agree. I generally like my space. However, after traveling a bit, you get used to some close talkers because it's a cultural thing. The distance at which we stand even has a name. Proxemetics. I hope I said that right. And quite a bit of study has been done on the matter. Just a little side note before I move on to the next comment relating to these other two comments. I will be linking the article to Proxemetics, still hoping I'm saying that right, in the description below. I remember having this wild experience in Japan. I was in a nightclub and it was packed. I needed to get some more drinks and it ended up like swimming through flesh to get to the bar, squeezing, jostling, oiling, eeling, squirming, and slipping through all these warm club bodies to get to the bar. I did the exact same thing on the way back when I had my drinks, but it didn't occur to me until later on that I wasn't bothered in any way by the experience. You know why? Because nobody else in the club was bothered in any way. Like, that's just how things were. Personal space didn't exist. If that happened here in a North American bar, I'd be super on edge or annoyed or uneasy. But because the vibe of the personal bubble just straight up not existing, my brain didn't even register it. Like, if the crowd had been annoyed, I might have been annoyed, but they weren't, so I wasn't. It was a really strange cultural moment for me. Sorry if this wasn't as spicy as some of the other posts we had been over, but I just find this super fascinating. Like, I didn't even know there was a whole study just based on where we stand next to each other. Also, I never thought the amount of space between each human being during a conversation would be a cultural thing, but man, that just shows how uncultured I am, I guess. Let me know in the comment section if you guys have any interesting stories involving personal space or any cultural differences. I'm very curious to find out how close people think we should stand next to each other when we talk. Me personally, I think a good 3 or 4 feet is quite okay. Maybe 2 feet, but any closer than that, I might look at you funny. Someone touching you while talking to you when they don't know you.
Traces the outline of your forearm vein with my fingertips. Why are you so guarded?
You saw the role-playing one before this, didn't you? Firm handshakes, but they don't let go. Makes me so uncomfortable, and I absolutely do not trust anybody who does this. What is this crap? Power dynamic? Old-timey crap? Yes and yes. Some find it amusing to make you squirm, and others have to quote win, i.e. not lose first for any reason. And some hang on out of respect for you, because you actually came in with a firm handshake and they were not prepared to have it returned. Almost like a tradition for not being the last one to bow. I've met some of all of these. One old man, at least in his 80s if not older, had busted water pipes over this last freeze. I stopped my car, kneeled over in the freezing cold water to shut off his pipes for him. He was very appreciative and offered his hand. I shook it and it was like a vice grip. But I returned and stood steady, and his eyes widened. His smile got big, and he asked me my name in the nicest way, offering, quote, "If you ever need anything, I ain't going anywhere." The whole conversation occurred with the same grip. I told him I appreciated it and let go. He patted me on the back and infer what you want, but I felt appreciation and respect at that moment. I feel like a lot of the handshake has to do with context, but there's a difference between a firm handshake and a really hard squeeze to like prove dominance. But this guy seems like a really cool old dude, and you sound like a really good guy, so I'm glad you guys get along.
I knew a kid in high school who said he wanted to wear my skin as a suit. Thought that was kind of weird. Kinda?
Huh, you just can't take a compliment.
No, I think that's pretty weird. People who roleplay when texting you and type out stutters like, I really like you, looks away nervously. It makes me want to run as far away from you as possible because what the hell? But what if it was like, hey, how's it going? Continues to eat ham sandwich. You know what? I think that's the exception. If you're gonna come into my DMs with roleplay, at least make it fun. But seriously, anyone who roleplays like that when they're actually texting, that's a red flag. Good try, OP. I know you're in here for a list of features so you don't come off as creepy and be more successful with murder. Busted. Thanks. Do me a favor and don't track me down and murder me, please. Too late. Dang it, not again. Wait, again? Something I've witnessed myself doing and others. Accidental eye contact followed by vaguely looking past the person to non-verbally be like, hey, I wasn't actually looking at you, sorry. Except it ends up feeling or being kind of creepy. I actually got yelled at for this once. I had a girl come straight up to me and chew me out for staring at her and asked me what my problem was, but I was just watching the TV behind her the whole time. I felt really bad. She didn't even give me a chance to explain. I'm a woman, by the way. Sheesh, sounds like she had emotional problems. If someone were to stare at me, I would at least look behind me to make sure that they weren't looking at something else. Right? Like, I get that it's creepy having someone stare at you, but to automatically want to fight the person instead of just, I don't know, moving away? I don't know, I definitely think it's weirder to confront the person who's staring at you rather than to just let it go. However, if you know someone's creepily staring at you, then maybe you can say something.
If you've gotten this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you really enjoy our content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.